Hey everyone, my name is Meera. Welcome back to my channel. This is gonna be my first reading vlog for the Bloomsbury award-winning books readathon. The readathon started on the 15th of October and today is the 22nd of October. So I'm gonna get started by reading this book, that is The Song from Somewhere Else by A.F. Harold. It has been illustrated by Levi Pinfold. So this book, from the synopsis, what I can gather is that it is something about friendship. It has this hint of mystery as well, and it's about how you form opinions about people without really getting to know them. So the main characters of this book seem to be Nick and Frank, and it's about how their friendship evolves over the course of this book. And there are some really beautiful illustrations in this book. So I am even more keen to be reading it because yes, that part of me hasn't died away. I'm still a kid. I love books with illustrations. So yeah, there are 200 and something pages in this book, so I hope to get done with it in a day or two. I have picked 6 books for this readathon. If you don't know which books I've picked, then I'll be linking my TBR video, so make sure you go watch it and join me in reading some of these books. It's the next day. I didn't get much reading done yesterday. I read about 10 to 12 pages and that was about it. Today I have a holiday, so I plan to sit and finish this entire book today. Hopefully that'll get done and I can move on to my next read for this readathon. Guess what? It's just a quarter into the book and we already know what the mystery element is. So I had thought that this book would be perfect for younger audiences, but it's a little more creepy than I had thought, so I'm not quite sure now. There is this tinge of the surreal, there's sort of an mixing of different realms, and it is this supernatural aspect that brings Frank and Nick closer, that forms the basis of their friendship. And I'm really curious to see how all of this builds up. It's about 12 in the afternoon and I'm done with half of the book, which is a great thing. I feel like it is the large artwork, the 2-page spreads that sort of helped me in finishing so much of the book so quickly. So far we've been reading about how Frank has been constantly getting bullied by these couple of boys from school and how that impacts her decisions and alters the way she conducts herself in public. She chooses not to even speak to adults about this and just holds on to all of this fear, this constant anxiety about stepping out of the house and encountering them. It's really heart-wrenching to read about her plight. The artwork is simple but very captivating and it sort of adds to the visuals that we've already built in our mind. In the beginning of Frank and Nick's friendship, we can still see how, although Nick is very unconditional with lending help to Frank during certain crucial situations, Frank is still very hesitant to call him her friend because she worries what other kids in school would think of her, because everyone has this really bad image, bad perspective about Nick and they keep calling him names. So it sort of spirals into other people also swallowing, absorbing this perspective of Nick, and she is just really worried that her being seen with Nick would lead to those boys bullying her even more. All of this helps us understand how fragile a person's image can be in society and how one person's actions can sort of snowball into meaning something very different for another person. It's almost 5 in the evening and I'm done with The Song from Somewhere Else by A.F. Harold and Levi Pinfold. This was a very nice read. I am going to be rating it 3.5 out of 5 stars. Yes, it's a book about friendship. Yes, it's a book about conquering your fears. and I feel like on the whole this would have a good influence on kids. It would help them broaden their imagination and have an open mind about things. It would teach them how you shouldn't always judge people based on impressions and based on assumptions. The artwork is also so wonderful. One of the other things that I really liked about the book is Frank and Nick's character arcs. Nick gets introduced to us as somebody who's a little reserved, a little held back, but he is not easily subdued, or he doesn't give in to these bullies, and that's how he ends up meeting Frank when he helps her out. While being a middle grade fiction, I felt like the writing style was for a little bit more of an older audience. I'm not saying that 6th graders and 7th graders can't read this book, but I guess it's just not written in very simple English. Another thing about the book is that the chosen one trope has been executed well, in my opinion. Frank is in fact till the very end unsure of what she's supposed to do and unsure of her abilities to save the day. We see that the ending is very satisfying as well. If you know any children, if you have cousins, then you might want to check out this book for them. It's a very interesting and nice read. From the synopsis, you will not at all guess what you're going to encounter in the book. At least I didn't. So this whole talk of realms, otherworldly creatures, and sci-fi gadgets that sort of control these realms, all of that was very surprising to me, and that made me enjoy the book all the more. We plan to go out for dinner, but I intend to start with The Explorer by Catherine Rundell tonight. I once again probably won't get much done today of this book, but tomorrow's a holiday as well, so let's see how much I can finish. Fast forward to day 3 of this reading vlog. So I spent all of today doing nothing but shopping. We have a family function coming up, and so we were looking for the right attire for this function, and I got no reading done. Yesterday night I started with The Explorer by Catherine Rundell, and whatever little bit I read yesterday night was intriguing enough for me to want to finish as much of it tonight as possible. The novel starts out with this bunch of 4 to 5 kids who are on a plane, and there doesn't seem to be any adult chaperone on the plane. Out of nowhere, their plane crashes onto an island. I was sold after having read that portion. It's 9 p.m. right now. After dinner, I hope to get at least 100 pages of this book down. I believe this is 400 and some odd pages long. It shouldn't take me more than 2 days or so, but not promising anything. I know how hectic weekdays are, so I'm going to try my best. It's midnight and I'm done with 112 pages of The Explorer. I'm calling it a night, and I'll try to finish a couple hundred more pages tomorrow throughout college and when I get back home. This book is incredibly fast-paced. It's so gripping. It's reminding me of The Lord of the Flies by William Golding. That book also has this whole plot where there are kids who are stranded and trying to fend for themselves. There's the whole conflict of interest that goes on because some kids have different opinions on how to go about trying to survive, and well, there's not a lot of resources to work with, so they are trying their best. Lila, Max, Fred and Con are the 4 kids in this book. Fred naturally assumes this whole leadership role in the group, and Max is the youngest of them all. He's just 5 years old. Con is somebody who has really strong opinions, so she ends up getting into a lot of quarrels or sort of arguments with the rest of the group. It's really interesting and I'm loving the book so far. Good morning. Today is day 4 of the reading vlog. I'm in college right now. I'll probably get back home sometime around in the evening, and I have 300 pages of The Explorer left to finish. I'll keep you guys updated about my thoughts on the book as I keep reading it. It's 10:30 in the night and I'm on page 134. At this point I'm finding it a bit too much. I mean, the book is not bad, it's really interesting, the plot, the way everything is unfolding, but I find that the kids in the book, the four of them, that's Lila, Max, Fred and Con, they are acting much older than what you would think of someone their age. I find it a little difficult to digest the fact that they would have so much knowledge about surviving in the wild. Take for example this line that I'm going to read out. Fred looked down at his hands. The cut on his knuckles from the crash was just beginning to heal. He bit the scab off one of them, squeezed out a drop of blood and put a spot of red on the map to mark where they were. Who would think of that? They're supposed to be 10-12-year-old kids. I don't know, maybe that line was a little too gruesome, a little too gory for some of y'all. In that case, I apologize. But there's stuff like this. Even Max, the 5-year-old, he talks in such a way that makes me feel like he's not a 5-year-old after all. So it's just the way these characters are appearing. It makes me a little more hesitant to digest the story, but I am having fun reading it. So let's see where this goes. It's 4 p.m, day 5 of the reading vlog, and I'm done with The Explorer by Catherine Rundell. This was such a lovely read. I'm going to be rating it 4.25 out of 5 stars. So to start off with, the plot is really interesting. It captivates you because it sells you on the point of how 4 kids are forced to survive in the wilderness alone, and the tactics and the mechanisms they use, which are really surprising for somebody their age. The writing style is full of vivid imageries. It's so descriptive that you can imagine the entire scenario that plays out in front of you. There were parts of it, certain dialogues, that I found a little hard to believe, but that aside, I had such fun reading it, and it's so adventurous, which is what made me keep flipping the pages one after the other, trying to devour the whole thing. I feel like this is a book perfect not just for kids, but anybody who is interested in adventure, who is interested in just exploring. In addition to following the journey of these 4 children as they try to survive, this book is also about self-discovery. It's about how all of not maybe Max, because he's the youngest of them all, but how Lila, Con and Fred have their own personal baggages, and how they sort of sort through their own feelings, their insecurities, their fears. So it's a lot about that stuff as well. It's not a boring book. It doesn't slow down at any point. I, for one, was really inspired. I know I would not have managed even a quarter of what these kids manage in the jungle. I am surprised I hadn't heard of it before. It's such an underhyped and underrated book. So I'm quickly going to go edit this vlog, type out my reviews for The Explorer and The Song from Somewhere Else. All in all, I really enjoyed reading The Explorer. I urge you to pick up both of these books if you can. I can guarantee that you're gonna have fun reading it. So that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, subscribe if you enjoyed watching this video, and if you generally would like to follow my channel and share it with everyone else. I'll see you again with another video soon. Bye.